Hi there, folks. I'm Emily.
And I'm Mel.
And this is Oh My Word, a podcast where we discuss books, movies, TV shows, and anything we want to, really. We talk to you about the content, let you know whether or not it's appropriate, and just give you some information so that you are a more informed consumer. It's really a public service.
Yeah, boom. We got it. That is a service that we do for you. Deep in the confines and from the safety of our mother's basement. We do this service for you.
Right. Just for you. And just for you, today we have a special episode. We are going to talk about a kid's book. Like a for real, legit kids picture book. I don't think we've done a picture book yet, have we?
No, I don't think so. We usually try to stick more to the middle grade, young adult market, and sometimes, like last week, we went into the quote-unquote woman's fiction, and sometimes not. But it's the 60th episode, so we figured let's make a big deal about 60th episode by doing something different.
You know, the 60th anniversary is the diamond anniversary.
Oh.
So this book is like a diamond in the rough.
Oh. And we're kind of skipping ahead, but we didn't clutch any pearls for this book. So maybe it's more like we get to flash diamonds. No, that makes no sense. But we didn't clutch any pearls for this book.
We did not. Which, okay, if we had to clutch pearls for a picture book, and I'm sure there are books like that, but if we had to, like, that would be really distressing, and I'd probably cry.
There are picture books.
Or break something.
Yes. Well, there are picture books that sometimes it's either sort of kind of messaging they're trying to give across, or they just try to take humor in a certain direction that you would be clutching pearls for, but not this one. I think this one kept it pretty safe. Even when it was quote unquote a little edgy for a picture book. Did a good job. Good job.
Edgy picture book. Anyway, we are talking about The Day the Crayons Quit by Drew Daywalt, illustrated by Oliver Jeffers. That's probably the first time we've had to mention an illustrated by in anything we've talked about, huh?
That's true. That's because we also haven't done any graphic novels yet or anything.
Yeah. Well, do you want to... let's see here. The Day the Crayons Quit is about Duncan. One day, Duncan opens up his box of crayons to color, only to find they've all gone and left behind some notes instead.
This book is one of the most clever books ever, which is probably why it's still so popular in picture books. I mean, there's many picture books that are very popular and they're going to be classics forever. But this one, I think what struck me the most about it is just how clever it is. Because everyone had, maybe not everyone, many people have had the box of crayons. And what they do here is they take each color, basically goes on strike for a different reason. So for example, the blue crayon goes on strike because he's always used to color in oceans and the sky. Because he's used so much, he's now reduced to a tiny little tired stub of crayon. And because of that, he's going on strike because he wants Duncan to use a different color for the skies and the oceans or whatever. And then orange and yellow crayon are fighting because they both want to be the color of the sun. And they both bring proofs of different coloring pages that Duncan has done. One time using orange for the sun and one time using yellow for the sun, which is so part of what is so clever. And then pink complains. He said, what? Do you think pink is only a girl color? You don't think that you're allowed to use me because you're a boy? You can use me. Use me for, find it something to use me for. Or the purple says, why do you always color outside the lines with me? I like to be in the lines because I'm such a pretty color. And then, the most adorable black is like, why do I always outline things? I want to make a black beach ball for something or for once. I want to be part of it, not just be an outline. And I think the peach one is the only one that's like, Duncan, I can't leave the box because you stripped me down to nakedness. Basically because you stripped the paper off from around me, so now I'm naked and I can't go anywhere, which is kind of quote unquote the edgiest it kind of gets, but which is also adorable because everybody knows of the crayon that doesn't have the wrapper on anymore because someone just idly tore it off.
Well, idly, or because you need to color something with the side of it.
That's true. That's very true. But they take, I don't say like the obvious, but it's like so obvious, and then they turn it into this adorable, humorous book. The end of it is kind of like the point is that Duncan decides to use all the colors for different things. So in a way, I guess there is still the messaging of like, if you want to color, if you don't want the sky to be blue, you could color it a different color. But it didn't feel like whatever angle they could have taken to the point past that they didn't do that. So they kind of left it there and use colors for whatever you want to color in with, which is fine and great and no problem with that. They do have like the sequels. There's like one that has like the crayons travel to different places, and those are like neon colored crayons of different colors. It's cute, but it's obviously not as good. They did try to capitalize. The publishers obviously try to capitalize on the popularity of this crayon book by coming out with all these other books, like spin-off books and whatever from it, but this original one, The Day the Crayons Quit, it's so adorable. It's absolutely adorable. And clever, as we've said.
And even though technically, obviously, a book for kids, it's clever and cute enough that if you're an adult but you're now intrigued enough to read it, you should go buy it and we won't judge you. You should enjoy it. It's very cute. Or, find a niece or nephew or someone to read it to if you feel like you have to.
Yeah. It's funny, though, because some of the kids that I've read it to, because I also specifically read it now to all the children, but they didn't appreciate, I was laughing hysterically and they didn't appreciate it as much. Which maybe to them, maybe it's just not funny because it's just so, obviously the blue is going to be a stub. Not because the kids can't get it, but I think maybe for the kids, it's just it's not clever. It's just a story about the crayons. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Or I don't know why, but it's just funny that certain kids didn't necessarily appreciate as much. And this also shows you, because a lot of people think I'm going to get into writing. I'm going to write a picture book. It must be so easy. But just because you see something as adorable and clever as this, it doesn't mean that it's easy to spin something out like that. It's actually usually pretty hard to make something that's easy to read and so enjoyable and hits the humor points correctly.
Good point.
It kind of just shows that you have to have a real skill to distill this kind of stuff into so few words, which is what picture books are all about. And the illustrations in it are great also.
That's a good point. Yeah, this is a great one. And to not do what Brian Regan joked about, which was make the description about the book longer than the book itself, I think we should keep this episode nice and short. What do you say?
Excellent idea. Excellent idea.
Thank you.
On that note.
So thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast, number 1. Leave a rating. Leave a review. Share it with people.
A very star review.
Yes. And follow us on Instagram at Oh My Word Podcast. We post sneak peeks at upcoming episodes. We let you know what else we've been reading. And you can also send us a DM. Let us know if there's something that we haven't talked about that you think we should. We'll consider it, from an adoring fan.
That's the most we can say.
Yeah, we don't want to make any promises, but at some point we're going to run out of books that we feel like we need to read. Okay, probably not, but we're happy to take recommendations. So find us on Instagram. We'd love to see you there. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers, cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Oh My Word. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe and write a review. And please share the show with your friends. If you didn't like it, you can share the show with your enemies. Please also follow us on Instagram at Oh My Word Podcast. There we post episode updates, our ratings for each book, and also our personal reading recommendations. Music for the show is by Tim Burke. Editor is Gabriel Yaffe. We'll see you next week.